Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May I have your attention please? Our program is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly take your seat and may I request the mobile phones to be switched off or put it on silent mode. Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Dr. Ahmed Burgida, RMDM's Chief Scientific Officer, Mr. Pavel Kasyanov, Bibliometric Expert Clarivate, Yang berusaha Encik Muhammad Fuad bin Muhammad Yusof, Deputy Chief Librarian UTM Library, academicians, all Deputy Chief Librarians, section chiefs and all participants. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today at the UTM Library Research Week Program 2024. We are thrilled to have you here, whether you are joining us in person or virtually via Facebook Live hosted by UTM Library. Your participation today plays a crucial role in advancing our shared commitment to research excellence and innovation. This year's UTM Library Research Week theme, Embracing Digital Transformation, Empowering Research Excellence in the Digital Age, reflects our commitment to driving innovation in research at UTM. To officially commence today's event, it is my pleasure to introduce our two distinguished speakers for the morning session, which is Dr. Ahmad Burgida and Mr. Pavel Kasyanov. Let me introduce our first speaker, Dr. Ahmad Burgida. Dr. Ahmad has an extensive background in pharmaceutical R&D, holding a PhD in chemistry from the University of Warwick, United Kingdom. He has worked for Big Pharma in both Europe and the United States before transitioning to Thomson Reuters, where he provided research and academic support across EMEA, Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. In addition to his corporate experience, Dr. Ahmed co-founded a startup based in London specializing in cancer research and diagnostics, where he served as the Chief Scientific Officer, CSO. Recently, he joined the Singapore office at Clarivate, where he supports the Research and Analytics Department for Southeast Asia Sea and India. Next, we move to our second speaker, Mr. Pavel Kasyanov. Mr. Pavel Kasyanov is a bibliometric analysis expert with nearly 20 years of experience working at Clarivate. From 2009 to 2014, he led initiatives in advancing modern bibliometric methodologies in Russia. Since 2015, he has focused on assisting universities around the globe to improve their research visibility, performance, and impact. Pavel's expertise includes using Web of Science data for bespoke analytical projects and supporting institutions, particularly in Asia, with integrating bibliometric data into their research evaluation practices. Now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Ahmad Burgida and Mr. Pavel Kasyanov for their talk on strategic insights boosting university research and reputation. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for the lovely introduction, for the lovely welcome. It's exciting to be here. Just want to rectify one thing. My current job is with Clarivate. I no longer work for RMDM, but it gives me a nice transition to tell you about my story a little bit. So I used to be a researcher. I'm still in touch with research, but very much now I enjoy supporting research. And some of you may know, Clarivate used to be Thomson Reuters. I worked for Thomson Reuters in the past, and I came back to where I was happiest, so I'm very thrilled to be here. I moved to Asia a year ago. I'm from Europe, and I have to say, after a year, I realized it was a great move. The energy, the passion, the opportunities to develop research and to help universities thrive. There's an energy here that you don't find in Europe anymore. Okay, so you know, so it's very, very humbling and very rewarding. So, really, when I took that role, my job was to boost research, but to get to know researchers, to get to know the research communities in those countries, most especially countries like yours. So, I just want to say today, we're going to have a great show, myself and Pavel, and we're here to listen to you as well. Really, more importantly, we're here to learn from you. even more than you are here to learn from us. That's the main part. We want to get to know you, your pain points, your objectives, what you want to achieve. And of course, we'll be your support because we can support you with our data, analytics, and expertise. But more importantly, we get to know you. So please don't hesitate to interject, to raise your hands, to talk to us during the conversation, today's presentations, or after even. That's the main part, the main objective. I really look forward to getting to know you. Okay. So, so today I'm going to start with an overview of how we can help research with our tools and analytics. I'll pick up on 2 case studies. It won't be too tedious. It won't be too long. Again, I want it to be very interactive. I'll talk about the rankings and how our teams of consultants can help universities like yours improve their rankings. We have a special recipe for it and a know-how. And then, yeah, again, like I said, very interactive, very open. It's not a lecture, it's a conversation. And then Pavel will take over and talk about research management. So without further ado, please, the first slide. Yeah, the next slide, please. Go straight in. So a few numbers. I'd like to start with a few facts. We have, for the past 20 years, 20 plus, 22 years, I think, roughly rewarded 421 citation laureates. So citation laureates, because we specialize in citation analysis. You all know Web of Science, you are subscribing to Web of Science. With a raise of hands, who is using Web of Science on a regular basis in the room? Yeah. Behind Web of Science, can you please raise your hand so I can see? Anyone else on a regular basis, so you know Web of Science? Okay, so it's a citation database. It's the first of its kind. It goes way back in the 60s. And because of the authority and the quality of our data, we give every year citation awards to top-class scientists using those metrics. So 421 is the number we can give you for the past 20 years, or 21 or 22 years. Next slide, please. And around 17.8% of those laureates became Nobel Prize winners. So it's pretty good, nearly 20%, 1 out of 5. Again, this is a great testament to the quality of our workers behind the scenes. Web of Science is a very simple concept. If you think about it, if you break it down, a very simple database, but in the background, you have people working day in, day out to make sure this is delivered every day. Okay, that's the complexity of it. And the more, of course, we move forward, the more research is being published, and the more connections are being created. Next slide, please. This is it, yeah. From 2022, the breakdown with Nobel Prize winners. Our best year was 2011, but you can see it for yourself, and that's a testament to. This is for our workers in the background, not for us. We're here to support it. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, if I ask you now, what do you know about Clarivate besides Web of Science? Does anyone have an idea of who we are, where we come from? Okay, let me rephrase the question. Besides Web of Science, what do you know about Clarivate? Very good, and no. Anything else? Yes, JCR, very good. Anyone else? Can be anything? Insights, yes. Very, very academic, yes, which is the topic today. No, this is good. This is great, thank you. Anyone else? You know anything? Yes, master journalist, yes. We provide. Okay. Say again. Impact factor, just yeah. So the usual suspects. APC. I don't know what APC. Say again. Opposition, yes, sorry. This is a new one. Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You see, I learned from you. We need more of this. So I don't know if you can see the slide. We are a lot more than that. You know, we have divisions in healthcare, life sciences, which I come from. I come from healthcare before, but I work for healthcare. We have IP, legal. We have, besides A&G, we're bigger than that. We have so much data. The difficulty is not whether we can do something or whether we find the right project for you to give you, to be able to give it to you. And we work with academia, government, corporate, of course, pharma companies, CROs, technical transfer offices, 11,000 experts. We have 45,000 customers. We help drive research into ideas, into better funding, better equipment, better recruitment of talent, retention of talent, spotting of young talent, analyzing the trends, forecasting the trends. So the reason why I'm saying that to you is what started with the citation database, which is a very brilliant and simple idea, grew into this massive array of possibilities over the years to come together with Clarivate. So this is who we are. We're not just Web of Science and Insights, which is great. We're more than that. We can give you access to that world when we speak to you and learn about your challenges. And I speak to customers when sometimes we have to tap into the other area of our portfolio to answer the needs. We can do pretty much anything that relates to research and pursuit of research excellence. That's the message. Next slide, please. So again, I won't go into details with this. This is our footprint around the world. We cover pretty much, well, a lot, as you can see. There's no details here, but just to give you again, we are very global. Like I said, I think for me personally, being here in APAC, in Asia, in Southeast Asia, a rising developing place, it's so dynamic, I'm so thrilled. And I think this is really the APAC and especially Asia showing the way to the rest of the world, how dynamic and energetic it is. So I'm very, very happy to be here. Next slide, please. So very comprehensive support for intellectual breadth at all levels. Like I said earlier, we pursue the excellence to drive research and innovation. We interact with everybody, whether it's a student, a faculty, or a leader, a research funder, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm happy, we're happy to speak to any one of you, to learn from you. Of course, we have our knowledge and acquisition and learning, research innovation. We work with tech transfer, discovery, and how we do that. We have an array of tools we can use, databases, but also support with our custom data reports, our own reporting and consulting with projects, specific projects that we can deliver using our data, of course. Okay? Workflows, analytics and insights. Yes, thank you. So, in a nutshell, we give you all this array of services just for you. So please talk to us to let us know what you need, and we will deliver it for you. That's the message. Don't be shy. Tell us everything you need. I'm going to quickly go through two, let's say, scenarios of how we can actually use the data. This is going to be very academic, very based on Web of Science. How to find the rising stars. I mean, often, and I had this misconception for myself when I was working in R&D. You think, because you know your area, you know who is good and who is going to be the next big thing. It's the same in any endeavor, right? In any sport, even in football, we know who this kid is going to be great. But once you dig deeper, once you find out that you missed on something, you realize that you need a more thorough approach to this. I mean, I'm from a chemistry background. As an organic chemist, we know the usual suspects, the top professors, but amongst the ones who are, let's say, 2-3 generations behind, you think you know if someone's going to be great until you find out they're not great, and you missed out on it because you didn't really do the homework. And without data, we can help you alleviate this. So very quickly, 2 case studies. Next slide, please. So rising star identification or retention. You hear of universities having a gem, and they let the person go because they didn't know that he or she was a gem. Happens. You have to identify what is relevant. You have to define the expertise, the flexibility, and the openness, and high-quality data. You need to understand what you want to achieve and how you're going to get it using the data. Okay, so understand, first of all, your case study. What is the talent you're seeking? Are you seeking for a top microbiologist, a top chemoinformatics, a top organic chemist, synthetic organic chemist, not someone in analysis? So once you have this idea, you have your strategy, you build an evidence-based strategy, and then you can identify the profiles using that data. Yeah? Next slide, please. Okay, so again, identify the topic, go deep into it, with keywords, with Web of Science publication related topic data. You filter selection, data collection, data set, and finally with your expertise identification, you identify who is what. I mean, you see better in the next slide, please. Strategic analysis. So what could be the performance indicators of the people? It could be the most recent affiliation and country, number of publication, number of citations, median category normalized citation impact. Has anyone ever come across this normalization citation impact? Very, very quickly. It's a metric we use in Insights, for your information, where you can normalize citation impact across the board, across the world, in categories and through journals. So we can compare a younger researcher with an older researcher, with someone from people from different areas. Because citation math is not different to citation in medicine. Obviously, there's different ways of, different method of publishing, different trends. So this is what it means, normalized citation impact. So the real impact of that person, normalized. Last and first author, very interesting. Who in this room has published before, or reason about to publish work? Okay. So, yes, thank you. It is, I think, another misconception. You think that the last author, usually the last author is the main person, the lecturer. And he or she gives the first name to the student who did the most of the work. But not everyone that follows that trend. There's a minority who don't follow that trend. It's not always true. And we can go into this in details for you. Okay? That's another thing people misconceive. Assumptions make you make mistakes. Percentage of Q1 journals. You talked about the master journal list. We have quarterly or Web of Science. We have Q1, Q2, Q3 top quality journals. Of course, somebody publishing in those journals is going to be, more of a high profile. International collaboration, but again, what type of international collaboration, or to what extent it was international collaboration. Then we go back to the last and first and last author. They're both linked. And year of first publication for the career stage indicator. Yes, if you publish early and you have such high numbers for these, you obviously someone we should look into as a rising star. That's an example of what we can do with that data. Okay? Next slide, please. So I mentioned earlier, we're more than just Web of Science and citation connection. We have, anybody heard of Derwent Innovation Index in the room? Derwent Innovation Index is the original database for patents across the board. So most patent offices around the world, EPO, for example, is one of them in Europe, WIPO in the world, they're using our database to track the patents. This is the largest count of patents in the world. So you have that. Cortellis, anyone heard of Cortellis? It's okay, it's not healthcare. Cortellis is a citation database, it's a database for healthcare and the pharma companies. New drugs, the trends, past drugs, all the programs are there. And finally, of course, Web of Science, which is our primary solution for academia. So using all three, again, like I said, we have access to so much. We can even go further in analysis of how to detect a rising star and tailor to what the customer needs. Some companies can come to us and ask us, we want to identify the top 10 microbiologists in Southeast Asia for the next 5 years. Using all this, we can give them a list then of who they can target and perhaps employ or at least monitor and see the progress of these people. It's like scouting, really. Scouting talent using our data between academia and industry. And of course, that leads to better quality, better input, better excellence. And I think it leads as well to some universities who may want to keep the talent. You know, some universities want to keep it, so want to track who is the best in this university you can keep and not let go. That's another application. Please, next slide, please. So this is very quickly. The research environment matters, of course. We can identify through networks how any environment nurtures and helps the researcher do a better job. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, research contributions. This is quite impact. This is quite straightforward. Of course, number of publications, citations, primary, secondary, connection. That as well is something we can bring up in the analysis. Next slide, please. And of course, the discipline. Okay, everything, like I said earlier, normalized. Not one behavior, one trend is the same from discipline to discipline. Even within chemistry itself, as you may know, probably know, from organic chemistry, you have synthetic chemistry, where you make new stuff. That's what I was. And you have the other side, which is how to improve the recipe of a chemical reaction. Even that, you have different trends, different way to publish or to work with others. So within those topics, who are very linked, it's very important to normalize the whole thing and to understand what happens at the granular level. So that we can do that too. So discipline is very important. Next slide, please. Okay. Before I move on, any questions on what I've just shown? Very succinct matter. Any questions? Anyone? Okay. The second case study is it's called Research Front to Capture Cutting Edge Research. And I will just show you a few slides how we can go deep into the analysis of publication trends and connection with using citations with the Web of Science. That's a very academic endeavor. To be able to actually, again, predict what the cutting edge technology will give or what there will be. So, Research Front, what it is, first of all. Research Front is focusing on papers that have attracted lots of attention from the research community that may lead to a new research area. Again, new ideas. That's how it works. People working together, collaborating together, bringing up new things to happen. And we call it cutting edge research because it's excellence coming together for something new and better than what is done before. We exactly highly cited papers, and we can cluster them by co-citation. You create a group of frequently co-cited papers and define it as an RF. And that's the number one step. Then that's over a certain period of time. Next slide, please. So you extract the data, you aggregate it, and this process, this is a very succinct and simplified version. See, this process, then when you get the details of these papers, you identify research areas related to new technologies, cutting edge technologies, and researchers that are challenging the cutting edge areas. So it's all about going into the details of co-authorship and authorship of highly cited papers that you can just put together in clusters, like putting up a puzzle, really. And it makes sense once you actually do it, practically do it, when you do your own research. You put it together, this person is doing this, the conclusion is this, let's put this together in this cluster, and so on. And you extract the data, you extract the papers that are affiliated with the target university. This is, again, it goes back to what I was telling you about organic chemistry. You have In Web of Science, you have micro, meso topic. You do that. So in the topic, you have multiple layers of topic within the topic. And that applies, of course, to the pursuit of RF papers, research area. So you can come up with a list afterwards of the researchers that have been identified as cutting-edge researchers. Next slide, please. Publication counts, of course. And you can study the correlation in new technologies. And using research areas in other disciplines. Again, the bridge allows you, when you change environment, to new discoveries. I mean, I can tell you by my past. There's something in organic chemistry that we never do, is to use water in a reaction that would really do anything bad. But I'm telling you, it's a true story. Researchers in the US and France came together, using just connections. It was pre our idea, but that's to give you an idea. They came up with actually a way to use a little bit of water to improve reactions. And that's for me, that sent shockwaves. That was completely new, so cutting edge, and that led to a new kind of science, really, organometallics, using water to improve reactions, in a nutshell. Whereas 10 years before, if you tell anybody I'm going to use some water in my reaction, they would say you're crazy. You're gonna mess everything up. That's the essence of the idea. And with our data, we can help fast forward this with the study of our data. That's the message. Next. Now this is just various rules to give you an idea of how you can do the analysis using visuals. And of course, if you use Web of Science, you can know exactly where I'm coming from with these visuals. You can see the source of the research collaboration, the networks, and go back and find candidates when you're mapping it out. Next slide, please. So that's institutional level. You can do the same at researcher level, individual level. Same thing, okay? To identify candidates to support those researchers. Next slide, please. And which leads to, I think, the last example, correlation between industry and academia. It's also another, I think, misconception. I'm going to ask you, percentage, try to guess the average amount in APAC of collaboration between university and academia, of published papers, from 1 to 100. I'm talking about universities that publish with an industry partner. What is the percentage, you think, across the board? Okay, it's okay. It is less than 7%. Yeah, you would expect to be a bit more, right? It's less than 7%. So a lot of work needs to be done here. And again, with our data, with our citations, like I said, I mentioned Derwent earlier with a patent analysis. We have a citation for patents as well. We can actually help cross that bridge faster and explore possibilities for more industry-academia partnerships. And this is give you an example of some companies, healthcare research areas, percentage of papers are co-authored by companies. You see the number is quite low per therapeutic areas, but per university, it's not more than, I mean, the average, if you hit 5%, you're doing really well as a country. Anything above is excellent. So again, I was surprised myself. I thought it would be much more, but it's not. And that's a great slide, a great explanation of using our data, again, our citation connection with Web of Science and Derwent data helped you get to that conclusion faster. Next slide, please. I'm conscious of time. So research front, the pursuit of excellence, that's how I would call it, cutting-edge research. It's all about better understanding all the the bits and pieces of the whole research ecosystem, really. It's to make it less and less subjective and more objective with analytics, with controlled analytics and informed analytics. And with that, by targeting researchers, universities, more collaborative work and more groundbreaking ideas, like using water in a chemical reaction, that will help you really explore possibilities for innovation and creation of wealth. Okay? Okay. That's the end of the first part. I'm going to talk about the rankings now, and I'm conscious of time. How much time do we have left? Sorry, it's late, but what time is it, please? Time. 9:55. So Pavel is after me, so I'm going to try to be as quick, as clear as possible. First of all, any question about this to move on? Can I ask questions later? Okay, rankings, please. Next slide. So, what is a ranking? I mean, you hear ranking. People talk about ranking about everything. I mean, the image, the brand, reputation play a big role, but you need to understand what the ranking is. That's the first, I think, primary question anyone should ask, is him or herself. Next slide, please. So I like this quote from an American author. He was a communication expert. He is a communicating expert for academia, okay? And sadly, it can be true. Prestige is often more important than actual quality, because it's a perceived excellence of institution that guides the decision making. We think Harvard is the best at everything. It's not. We think MIT is the best at everything. It's not. We think, you want to send your kid to this university and spend so much money because you think it's the best, and it's not. We have to take a step back and reevaluate how we rank our institutions and how we view our institutions. Next slide, please. So, from students to government funding agencies to employers, collaboration, universities, leadership, they all have an influence in these rankings, in this perception. And our job is to help you, if you want to improve your ranking, and I know you do, is to help you find the right information, again, not subjective, to be as objective as possible using analytics to get to that level, to get rid of all the assumptions and stick to the facts. Next slide, please. So when university rankings can monitor many things, there's a big part of data in it, not big enough if you ask me. I think it should be bigger. And next slide, please. So ranking methodologies. Next slide, please. So the question, please. Has anyone seen this before? For ranking. I know you get, yes, you're the first in class, Pavel. No, but I know that your UTM is highly ranked in QS. You're very ambitious. You want to increase, and this is great. This is really amazing. This is THE. Does anyone know that in THE you have a split? Can you see? Can you see that? Can you see it properly? Teaching is nearly 30%. Research environment is nearly 30%. Research quality is 30%. And then within those, you have another breakdown. The reason why I'm showing this is this. Again, we have a misconception sometimes of what rankings are. You need to, before you want to improve your ranking, you need to get to know what the rankings is about. Now, it doesn't mean you have to play the system, but I think knowing what you're getting into, you'll be able to better apply what you should do. But very few people actually have seen this. Even people who are dealing with rankings, collecting data in the university, if you show that to them, they will Not all of them, of course, but some of them would not know what it is. And I think it's important that we should know what it is. How THE, one of the big ones, actually ranks you. Next slide, please. So UTM as a glance, your university. Let's talk about you, because that's what matters. Next slide, please. So I picked those numbers from what I could find. You're obviously very ambitious, which is great. It's great to see. You're top university in the land and in Asia, even in the world. I mean, QS 188 is pretty remarkable. You've got ups and downs over the years, but you're still quite steady in your progress, so this is great. And number one in the world for SDG 7, affordable and clean energy. That's remarkable. Number one in Malaysia for SDG 9, industry innovation infrastructure. That's also remarkable. So it is quite a remarkable institution, and I can see why you are referred to as very research intense. Okay, your research intensity translates into this improvement. We can do better though. We can help you get better, and not having any glitches. Next slide, please. So we have a method. I'll be very quick because it's better if I explain to you orally. The method is we look at a lot of group indicators. We go from research to teaching to industry innovation indicators, our team of experts at Clarivate. And then we talk to you to come up with a device plan and a recipe. A plan that is so precise in time, with timeline and milestones, that we make sure, or the best we can anyway, again, like I said, to be as objective as possible. You take away subjectivity and bias from any parameters, any decision made, and also make sure the progress is done accordingly. I'll give you an example. Any university, a professor will say, yeah, next year I want to get to top 100. Okay, this is my ambition to get to top 100. Maybe you're not ready to get to top 100 in 5 years, let's say. Maybe it's going to take you 10 years, but it's better to find out. To say, no, the next 5 years, I won't go to top 100, I want to 150. That's good. And that's where we come in and help you with this, with specific action points, detailed action points. That's what we call the recipe for ranking. Again, our expertise, our experts, and the data. And we've had that with other universities when they're telling us we want to get to that level, that in a year or 2 years, and we tell them it's impossible, you can't do that. And we show it to them. But it's always a two-way street. Communication level is always between us two. And you have, of course, the final say. You can disagree with us. You will have the final say, but we will defend, we will tell you what you should do as experts. And the prime example is often universities want to go too fast, and you can't go too fast. You have to go steady. Next slide, please. So we cover the main ones. Of course, QSTHE is the one that interest you the most, for obvious reasons. And we help universities increase their rankings for these two. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is just a description. Next slide, please. I've already described this to you. There's no point. Next slide, please. So again, we assess, benchmark, we're setting goals, we align with you for the targets, we define the initiatives, okay? Do you have to publish X% of Q1 in Q1 journals, Web of Science in 2 years, or in 6 months, or a year and a half, 40%, 60%. That is detailed to the T, and the timeline. That's what we call KPIs. And then we plan it, and we manage it together. We monitor it, and we catch up on a regular basis to see the progress. Okay? Next slide, please. So that's it. That's in a nutshell what I've just said. What you want to reach, where you are currently, and how to get there. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is another description. This is good because phase 1, 2, and 3, usually 3 phases. The 4th one is the monitoring, where you can, after the delivery of the project, phase 1, we sit down, discuss together, find out about you, and we give you a plan. Phase 2, you agree on the project, the KPI objective of the plan. And phase 3 is the implementation of the plan. Phase 4 It's a monitoring of what happens, or the progress that took place for the past. It could be 18 months, 2 years, depending again on the timeline we have set together, okay? And I want to show you one more slide, because to show you, please, one next slide. My next slide. No, okay, let me go back to this first, sorry. No, go back, please. So just one thing here. Group 1, 2, and 3, we group universities in groups according to the level and the way, not just the level, but more how they how they could work together, how you can benchmark yourself to them, because we had recently a case in the Philippines. University they signed up with us on this project. We gave them a certain group of universities, some of them local, some of them international in Asia, some of them international outside Asia, the same size, same research outputs, that kind of stuff. So we actually make it very, very, very precise if we can do that. So we can actually, that's the whole point. Never always have a tailored plan, because yes, everybody wants to be the best, fast, but what matters is how to get there with a specific plan. And that's what I mean by grouping of universities, just so you know. Next slide, please. Yes, okay. Actually, no, this is on the slide. No, next slide, please. I'll show you my slide. This is it. This is what I want to show you, okay? So this is a screenshot of a customer, and they had their ranking positions and where they wanted to get to. That was in 2022. 3 years, 4 years, where they wanted to be, the improvements that we agreed with. And here, you can see here, maybe you can see it properly. I can share it with you later. You can come with me and I can show it to you and talk to you. You can see the detail of the actions and which ranking system it applies to. Like for example, increasing publication per scholar from 1 to 2 in the period 2016-2020 to 4 in the period 2020-2024. Here's how precise it is. That's only one action. And it's only for THE, not for QS. Which means this will not work in QS. If you think that increasing the publication per scholar for that specific way would not help you in QS, that's where we come in and give you the expertise again. Okay, and then I think, next slide, please. There's enough time. Yeah, and that is the timeline. Again, you see, the bottom slide is what matters here most. I mean, among the rest. The example plan, like you see that you have flurry of activities and a gap where university does its homework and come back to us and we give the next invitation. So we do that with each one of our clients. Very controlled, okay? And very, very precise. Next slide, please. Yeah, can be delivered in reports, dashboards, custom data. We can deliver anything in any format, really. But this is just to give you an example of what we can do delivering those plans. And next slide. And thank you so much for your attention. I hope it wasn't too long. But like I said, one more thing, please come talk to us. I look forward to speaking to each one of you. Assalamu alaikum. And barakallahu fikum. Thank you.
Hello again, dear colleagues. So just for a few minutes before we get slides slightly changed. So if I may ask you to please load the presentation number. Yeah, this is the one. So once again, allow me to introduce myself. First of all, thank you so much, Ahmed, for your outstanding presentation. I hope we will get some time for questions in approximately half an hour from now. In this half an hour, what we wanted to talk to you about is yet another challenge that a lot of modern universities are facing. And that's the challenge of mostly how to, first of all, make the results of your research more publicly available. And at the same time, try to build a modern system of research evaluation in the university that would allow us finally to understand which of our researchers publishes what sorts of research outputs, and how we can actually measure them with 100% precision. So if I may ask you to click the next slide, please. So some of the few really astounding numbers that I wanted to share with you. First of all, it's about the competitiveness of current research world. So the funding for research in some countries is, as you can see, is the investment into research is very rapidly growing. In some of them, it's shrinking, and again, the numbers are absolutely astonishing. Number two is we're slowly getting in a lot of countries, which we see that from a model where science has been setting its own goals and then evaluating itself whether or not it has done a good job, to a system where it's either being done by peer reviewers or by looking at objective bibliometric indicators, or by the combination of the two. So that's probably what we see in Malaysia right now. Then there's a pressure from the open research. So we have done a lot of webinars and seminars here in Malaysia talking about how you deal with legitimate open access journals. For example, somebody was mentioning APCs today in relation to Clarivate, which again is article processing charge. I don't think that exactly relates to Clarivate, but that's also an important thing. And then there's a question about how you retain your key talents within the university. So that's also a very hot question on the agenda of a lot of universities today. Can you click the next slide, please? Thank you. So what we wanted to talk about to you now is a specific tool that's designed exactly to increase the publicity of your own research and to run the research evaluation tasks more efficiently, which is called Esploro. So as you probably heard, Clarivate, two companies, Clarivate and Xlibris, have merged quite a few years ago, and Esploro now sits within the product suite of our research and academic and government tools. So can I ask you to click the next slide, please? What exactly is Esploro? Let's talk about this. So again, the challenge is there's just so many data points and activities and entities that we, as research evaluators or as the managers of the university's repository, want to collect and to somehow link them together and somehow present them to the internal stakeholders in the university and to external stakeholders who are maybe the consumers of your research outputs. So there are a lot of tools like this currently in the world, and Esploro is one of them. And if we manage to collect all of them within one environment and somehow process them, there's a whole new lot of activities that we can do on all of them. We can, first of all, act as a repository, which basically gives access to the public world to all of our research outputs. We can find experts internally and externally. We can understand who of our researchers are the most active and the most cited, and we can do a lot of other things. So can I ask you to switch to the next slide, please? So this is approximately what Esploro looks like. And yeah, this is another service that we want to show you specifically because we think that UTM is one of the organizations that has these challenges, and Esploro is a tool that is to address them. So this looks like a portal where all of the UTMs, for example, research outputs are hosted together with their full text, if they are available, of course, by licensing model. And when we have a search window, we can search for all of this, like on Web of Science or like on Google Scholar. We can search for all these research outputs. We can search for individual researcher profiles, or we can go to the pages of the universities, sub-organizations, for instance. All of this is indexed by Google and other search portals. It's all optimized for search engine optimizations, etc. And click the next slide for me, please. And this is approximately what a researcher profile now looks like. So again, you've probably seen a lot of researcher profiles on Web of Science, and that's our best attempt to go from a set of different researcher name variants to a unique record that would combine all of the documents by this researcher on Web of Science specifically. But on top of Web of Science, there are other databases as well. There are other repositories. There are documents that your researchers publish, but they are not indexed on Web of Science. So how do we capture them all? Well, we can actually do that on a profile like this. And this is what it can look like. It's a profile with their picture, with their short summary of their bio, with their contacts, with their metrics, and with the list of their research outputs, maybe projects, maybe activities that they're doing, if in case, of course, the university is actually interested in monitoring this sort of activity. Can you click the next slide, please, for me? And the next slide. So there are a few things that we wanted to talk to you about in this relation. So the thing is, this is not the first attempt by Clarivate to build a tool for this 100% precise research evaluation and the research output tool. So in my almost 20 years in Clarivate, I've already seen at least 2 or 3 of these attempts by ourselves, and I've seen a lot of these attempts by our competitors. And in all of these cases, the greatest challenge that I see the services were facing is the way to populate the university repository and to link these individual research outputs to the correct researcher profiles. That normally takes months, if not ages, for the repository administrators to populate this repository. And it also needs to be maintained and updated and make sure that the data there is up to date. And normally I've seen it that a lot of customers, our ex-customers and competition's customers, when they installed systems like that, they had great challenges of assigning headcount or 2 or maybe even more to just maintaining the quality of that data set, which is used to be a tremendously challenging task. So the reason we're presenting this today is that we believe Esploro is exactly the tool that not only takes the time it takes to maintain this repository down to very affordable figures, but also ensures collaboration within the university that makes sure that the data set which is going to be in the repository is going to be populated and maintained up to date with very, very low time and resource spent. So can I please ask you to click the next slide? And the way we're doing this is we're now relying on a lot of AI capabilities for that. We're going to have a separate lecture after the break about how we now treat AI at Clarivate. But the important part there is that we have tools that allow you to batch upload the records by your researchers in this repository. But what's more important, we have tools that allow to use AI to actually find the records out there by your researchers that you might not even know that they exist, and match them correctly to those researcher profiles. So let's talk about that, how exactly that can be done. Can you please click this next slide for me? So the way this AI works is it searches for a tremendously huge archive or super repository, if we can call it like that, which has 4.5 billion, more than that, metadata records. So just to give you an idea of how large that number is, Web of Science core collection altogether is 90 million records. So 4.5 billion records is actually 2 orders of magnitude more than the whole complete Web of Science core collection. So what the AI does is it searches for all these archives, and that includes Web of Science core collection, data that we get directly from the publishers. That includes other databases, including Scopus and many, many others. So it searches for matches for your particular researchers. And if it finds a match, it either automatically matches the record to the researcher, or if it's not super sincere, not super sure that this record should be matched to this researcher, once again, maybe there's a typo in their last name, maybe there's a researcher ID missing, then there's always a chance that it will send an email to the university administrator, where the administrator will have a chance to approve it manually. So again, we're not saying it's all done automatically. There's always like a trade-off between the quality of the data and with the time it takes to update it. But really, with a lot of the universities that already have this tool installed, and we're talking about dozens of them globally, a lot of them are saying that they're taking the number, the time it takes to update the profile really down by, first of all, using the AI capabilities, and number two, by increasing the efficiency of the collaboration, because the researchers internally, they can also update their own records there. Can I ask you to click the next slide, please? So this is approximately how the AI works. And frankly speaking, when we just saw how this AI works, we thought, okay, we probably need to rewrite our algorithm for author matching on Web of Science core collection. This is much better, and we're currently rewriting it for Web of Science researcher profiles. Can you click the next slide, please? And let's take a specific example. I'm really sorry for making this example without asking for a consent from the researcher themselves, but maybe just Johanna Jafar, maybe she's in the hall, maybe she's watching for us remotely, maybe she's too busy to be on this session, but please bear with me. She's one of the, to the best of my knowledge, what I made my research before the meeting, she's one of the most productive researchers in the university, having 425 records on Web of Science, which is a lot, and that's just on Web of Science core collection. Because on top of that, we also have a few records in other Web of Science databases. And also on top of that, we have a few records more that are not even on Web of Science platform, but she just logged into Web of Science and she confirmed that, yes, I'm a live human, those are my papers, which is great. This is going to be a reference for us, but maybe we can do even slightly better than that. So can you please click the next slide? So what we did is we went to Web of Science and just downloaded those papers into Excel format and uploaded them on Esploro. So what you see right now is I'm a terrible front-ender, but I tried to replicate the color scheme of UTM, like this purple, or I'm also bad with colors. Also this header, this footer, which more or less reproduces the colors, corporate color scheme of UTM. So yeah, and we managed, I know it's the screen might not be perfect. We managed to load all of these 421 papers into Esploro literally in 7 minutes, and this process was done in the background. So I've been having my coffee while this was doing, and I could do completely different things afterwards. But then, as I mentioned to you, there might be other records which we might not know about, but they exist. And can you please click the next slide for me? Can you click the next slide, please? And just once again, so that this part enlarges. Yeah, it's Oh, no, sorry, there was an animation there, so maybe it's me. Can you please go back? Right, and if the animation here is not working, maybe, yeah, it's my fault. So anyway, what we managed to do is smart harvesting, this AI managed tool that searches that 4.5 billion super repository for additional records. It has found 40 more records by her and link them to her profile. So how exactly it found? It's absolutely sure that it's her, because he found either her researcher ID or her ORCID, maybe her Scopus ID, maybe something, some others. Her emails on the records that it's found, and it has linked them to her profile. And we can see like which of them are journal articles, which of them are book chapters, which of them might be even magazine articles if you as a university, you track them, but I'm pretty sure there was no magazine articles there. Yeah, I see conference proceedings and books there. So where is this all going? Can you click the next slide, please? When we have a university structure set in Esploro as a system, when we have all of our researcher profiles created like this, and again, it took us literally 10 minutes to populate 400 papers for a particularly active researcher. We can also do that for everybody else. We can start building reports like that, like for the research collaboration, for the internal collaboration, what's going on. There are different visualizations, including tree maps and word clouds, like what's going on with our research. And finally, we can create these dashboards for the management of our university that answer their unique questions. So basically, we can take any metric associated with any of our researchers and just put them into the analytics, either tabular or graphical view. Can you click the next slide, please? So yeah, just a few other examples. We're going to be talking with you about the tool called Insights today, and Ahmed has already mentioned that there is a great indicator called category normalized citation impact, which allows us to compare research done across subject areas. So yeah, we can take that from insights and load that into Explorer and track it for your research outputs of your research activities. Can you click the next slide, please? Yeah, or we can build something like that where we can just create a breakdown of what are sorts of the activities our researchers are doing and all the metrics associated with them, broken down by university sub-organizations, by individual researchers, or by their research groups, for example. Can you click the next slide, please? We're almost getting to the end of it. Yeah, this is how the constructor of these reports looks. I probably don't think it's viable to go into that right now into detail, but it's super flexible. And next slide, please. So before we jump to the last slide, a few words about the integrations that are done with Explorer. So how many other cool things we can do with that? Can you please click the next slide? So first of all, Explorer has integrations with all the tools that we at Clarivate produce, with Web of Science, with Insights, with our grant funding search tool called PivotRP, etc. And the next slide, please. We also have a lot of connectors with. Can you please click the next slide? I already explained. We did this integration with Insights that allows us either to take the metrics from Insights and load them into Explorer, or take the organizational structure from Explorer and load it into Insights for further analysis. And the next slide, please. Let's just skip this one just for the sake of time. And can you please click the next slide? Yeah, we also have a lot of integrations with other services like Altmetrics, so you can immediately see the Altmetrics of your records right on the university repository page. We do have integrations with Crossref and DataCite, which allows us to immediately mint the DOIs for our records and just do a lot of other things like push your researcher profiles into ORCID or pull the data from ORCID right into your researcher profile. So it looks amazing. And the next slide, please. I think we're getting very close to the end. So again, the reason we're showing this tool to you is we're sure that UTM is currently getting specifically to the point where it starts challenging to manage all the research assets that you guys produce, and Explorer is specifically a tool for that. So if there's going to be any interest, like to try it, to look at more of the researcher profiles that it can create, or to know more about the possibilities that they can offer. So yeah, we can certainly have another conversation with a deep dive into Explorer. And that's really a tool that we discuss a lot with our customers in Singapore, in Australia, in Korea. I've just returned from there. So this is really a great tool for powering your university repository and bringing your research evaluation exercises, their precision to 100%. So thank you so much. I guess we'll pause here for a second. And in case there will be any questions, with regards to Ahmed's presentation a few minutes ago, or with regards to mine, we'll be very happy to take them. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Pavel, and also Dr. Ahmed for such an enlightening presentation. Your insights into elevating university research and reputation are deeply appreciated, and I'm certain they will resonate with everyone in attendance as well as those watching online. Once again, let's give a round of applause to our speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to open the floor for any questions. For those attending virtually via Facebook Live, feel free to drop your questions in the chat box and we will address them during this session. For this Q&A session, I would like to invite Dr. Ahmed and also Mr. Pavel to have a seat in front to answer the questions. Please. Okay, is there any question from the floor? Please feel free to ask to our speakers. Okay, so we got one question from our UTM Library Facebook. Does Clarivate AI helps with patent novelty analysis? Please, which one of our speakers want to answer this question? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it actually works. Does it? Yeah, it does. Thank you so much. So the short answer would be, I don't know. A bit longer answer would be, as a company, you might have heard that we actually are represented by 3 divisions. Ahmed and myself, we're happy to represent the academic and government part, which is mostly about the scholarly literature that your university produces and which you can find globally, and the tools for automating that one and its research evaluation. We also have a business that's focused on life sciences. And finally, we have a separate business that does specifically the intellectual property analysis, tools for managing intellectual property. I was really happy to be in touch with the folks from that business for like 3 years, so I know a few things about our patent data and patent analysis capabilities. Unfortunately, what I don't know is how exactly they are using AI right now to specifically analyze the patent novelty. Judging on what we are currently doing with AI in our academic and government business, I would be inclined to say that the answer is yes. But if there's any way we can exchange our contacts with you, dear Dr. Alif Hadan, so that we can check that with our IP business and get back to you to just to reconfirm that, that would just be amazing. So thank you very much for bringing up this question.
Yeah, thank you, Pavel. Yes, thank you, Pavel. Just to add to this, AI is a hot topic. Even for us, it's a new endeavor. It's going to get there and better. We have specific areas applied to each division, like Pavel said. We have a great session this afternoon to discuss our AI for Web of Science and more. So it is probably going. Yes, like Pavel said, the IP team will probably say yes to you, but we'll double check. But I hope that answers your question. Now, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any other questions from the floor? Okay. Chief Fuad. Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oh, okay. I want to ask about for early career researcher support. How can Clarivate support early career researcher at university in improving their publication impact and academic influence for the early career researcher?
Testing.
Like for any researcher, we can help. I mean, the early career researcher is the best practice, or what to publish, which journals to target. Each publication has its own, quality control. We can help any researcher, but the youngsters who are getting into the academic web, how to publish better for the better journals. And we have that list, we have that know-how as well. Now, the work carried out by a researcher does not depend on anyone but the researcher and the team. So my advice to a young researcher like I was to listen to your supervisor, okay, be a good sport, spend the hours, read voraciously, read, and try to find the right collaboration internationally to help you improve your game. And you can do that with citation analysis. So that would be my advice. What we can do as well, like I said, is to tell this person which journals to target, the best journals for the best outcome. Yeah, but you need to be enthusiastic and listen to your supervisor. That's it. And then you fly high. Yes. Okay, WASAC. Yes, thank you, Tom. We have a solution called Web of Science Author Connect, where we can help, let's say, showcase your university to authors that we can select, handpick with you using the Web of Science, with targeted campaigns specifically designed for them across the Web of Science connection. That's a link to your question. Yeah, so we have that service as well. All right, so we can attract the best talent and the best, let's say, the best collaborations using that Author Connect tool that we have. Yeah, Author Connect. And we can discuss in details if you want. Fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. And thank you very much for the question. I'm traveling a lot in the region right now, and I can say that early career researchers in different countries, their challenges can really differ from country to country. But what I've observed so far in Malaysia is that, number one, they need guidance to really understand where to publish to advance in their career. And I can give you an example. Just a few months ago, I've been here, and one of the researchers, here in Malaysia, and one of the researchers in different universities was asking me, what should I do if I just sent he was almost crying when he was asking this, what should I do if I just sent my best scientific work, where I really spent months of my work for that, but I found out that I sent them to be published in a predatory open access journal. That was an amazingly weird situation for him, I would say. And what we are trying to do here at Clarivate is also to conduct certain webinars to researchers in Malaysia and globally, with a focus on, if I may put it something like this, publication hygiene, so that how you can prevent yourself from publishing your research in a predatory open access journal. So I'm not saying this is the only problem, but this is one of them. Number two is it's not about how to protect from the worst practices, but how to pick the best practices. So what approach should the early career researcher take if they don't have any papers published yet, but they want to publish their first paper? So how to select these journals, how to prepare for the peer reviewing process, because probably the first result of the peer review that you're going to see is going to be a bit disappointing, and that's how I would put it. So yeah, we run these webinars globally. We run these seminars specifically in Malaysia, so we can totally do that, something like that for UTM. And yeah, thanks for bringing this topic. It's a huge topic, so let's discuss. Maybe we can do something dedicated webinar here for the UTM. Thank you very much.
All right, this is for our Q&A session. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, and also Mr. Pavel. You may return to your previous seat. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who asked questions. Your participation adds immense value to today's session, and we greatly appreciate your engagement in making this discussion more interactive and insightful. Before we conclude our session, we would like to take a moment to express our gratitude to Dr. Ahmed Burgida and also Mr. Pavel Kasyanov as a token of appreciation for your time, expertise, and valuable contribution to today's event. We would like to present you with a small gift. I would like to invite the Deputy Chief Librarian, Encik Muhammad Fuad Muhammad Yusof, to present a token of appreciation to both our speakers. Please welcome. First, please welcome both of the speakers. Please welcome. Thank you once again, Dr. Ahmed and Mr. Pavel. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mr. Fuad. Once more. Yes. Oh, for both. Okay, one more gift. All right, thank you, Mr. Fuad. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have now reached the end of our session in this morning. We would like to thank our distinguished guests, professors, ladies and gentlemen, for your presence here today. Please remember to join us again at 11 a.m. for the knowledge sharing session entitled Stress Kronik dan Apa Yang Perlu Kita Tahu, hosted by UTM Library. We'll also resume at 2:30 p.m. for our next session, where both our speakers will present on Innovating Academia, How AI and Clarivate Support Malaysian Researchers. Don't miss this chance to gain invaluable insights directly from Clarivate. For those tuning in online, you can continue to follow the live programs via UTM Library's Facebook page. Stay tuned and we look forward to seeing you back here soon, both in person and online. Thank you and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you later.